I know there's a new vision statement that people have been asked to look at, and I wanted to go over some of that because some of it's very familiar to me, having negotiated with Comic Relief on several occasions about what's NSUN. And before you go into the next session, I wanted to kind of say the aims of facilitating active links between service users, building capacity of service user groups, brokering and facilitating access for the purposes of influencing. I'll come on to these in a minute, but I'm going to look at the values too. They're all really relevant aims of NSUN, and they remain relevant. There's also the values of NSUN to be open and transparent, to support service user organisations, not replace or supersede them. I'll come on to that. And then currently, to look at the underrepresented groups that don't appear to have a voice that's heard. They've certainly got a voice, it's not heard. We look at the value of equality and respecting people, valuing diversity, and that the activities of NSUN has to add to the service user movement. So that was what was on your sheets, which you were asked to look at before you come in order to go into the next session. And it's always difficult to be a bookend with David, because David and I have different ways of saying the same thing, and he's much more eloquent, and I haven't got a doctorate, but I've got an MBE. I've got an MBE. And one of the things I wanted to say is the reason that we chose a network is a non-hierarchical organisation. Service users have had enough of doctors knows best, nurse knows best. We've had enough of that. We wanted an organisation that was ours. So whether you worked in a small place in Devon or an urban area, Birmingham or London, whatever you said was as valued as from wherever you were. So networking works, and it's important for NSUN to say the links that it has with other networks. So there's an international network called Interrelate, which is not a dating agency. And it's important that we're part of an international network, because in that network we're beginning to see peer supporters who've been peer supporters for a long time saying to the English delegation, please don't make the same mistakes that we did, where many peer support workers are low paid, stuck in dead-end jobs and asked to be substituting themselves for nurses or in fact professionals such as social workers. And we need to avoid those pitfalls. We need to avoid the pitfalls of where peer supporters are actually having to get certificated in order to be a peer support worker. There's all sorts of pitfalls that we can learn from the States. In New Zealand, they have service user-led respite units. They have service user-led schemes that actually help people who are in distress, and it's supported and led by people who've experienced the same stuff. So that international handout and reaching across the waters is very, very important. And also what's important is that we have the peer-to-peer network, another network that can then lead out and work hand in hand, learning the lessons and sharing those lessons. And I think the other point about NSUN's future is, how will it be fit for purpose, and how are we reaching out to other networks, other service user-led organisations in order to be ready and prepared for the future? Because I think we need to look at how we can deliver around income for NSUN. And the practicalities are, do we charge for membership? Do local areas in small groups go out and campaign to have £1,000 a year to be members of NSUN? Do we charge the Royal Colleges who've got service user bodies to be members of NSUN? And I think the last thing I wanted to end on was that fundraising is obviously a very important thing in income generation, but ultimately anybody who does not sign up to the 4 PIs, we should not be working with. And we need to say, unless you're 4 PI compliant, we won't be working with you.